Before the Illmatic cut, Represent sounded completely different.
At the time, Nas was Nasty Nas. This one is very special. Represent. Notice it says representing because that's what it was at the time. Now, when Represent was being done, it was the first beat that I worked on with Nas because it's my first experience with him and vice versa with him with me. This contained a jazzy version with a dope bass line because in that era of time, especially 94, 93, 92, we were doing so many jazz samples to make beats. Me, Q-Tip, Showbiz, Diamond D, P-Rock, and on and on. We were just doing something very different. So when you put this one in to the machine, it goes like this.
It is real and any day could be your last in the jungle. Get murdered on the humble, guns and blast niggas tumble. The corners is the hot spot full of mad criminals.
Now, the vocals that you hear on the Illmatic album are from that original version. But there's the Represent remix. Nas was with me when we were working in the lab to get a third song going, and Memory Lane was what we were working on. But Q-Tip calls and says, hey, I got the beat, I pause mixed it. Q-Tip looped that 5 minutes pretty much, which is a long time and not easy to do. When we heard the sample that he pause mixed, it happened to be the original sample to One Love. And I was so blown away to hear a sample like that I said, man, I'm changing Represent and making a newer version of it. When you are being competitive with great people like Q-Tip, P-Rock, and Large Professor, you want to be as on top as they are because they were bringing the noise, which now turns this one into this one. As you see, it says remix. So when you load this up, next thing you hear is this version.
Shit is real and any day could be your last in the jungle. Get murdered on the humble, guns and blast niggas tumble. The corners is the hot spot full of mad criminals.
The track was actually built off the soundtrack to a 1924 silent film.
Played it for him, and he was like, let's stick with the bassline version. I'm like, no, this one's better. I said, nope, stick it to the bassline version. Pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. I finally got my way. Like us producers always nudging artists to let us have our way so we get the best of what you were great at.
Premier was the type of producer that wanted to make sure that the track was right.
And he went ahead and said, okay, the remix can go on there. Salute the floppy disk.
Which version do you prefer?